circus
Well,
years
you know,
ago, and that was the
and-
best thing that happened. And she
and-
was doing it. It was terrible.
And it
I mean,
wasn't.
not that she was terrible.
No,
she
it's
hated it.
keeping up with it. And if something goes bad, it's always a penny off. I think the stress level, when it's in there, I mean, keeping books for, my mom used to be the treasurer for one of the women's groups in church, and it made her so unnerved. She has great fingers. It was so wide over here. Oh, where'd he come from?
I was going to wait for Elton to sit, but I know. Good morning. Good morning. Did you survive the election? All the flip flags,
Oh, the beautiful silence on the winds.
Yes, yes. Were you getting the phone calls?
Oh, geez.
Oh, yeah. We're a split household, so we were getting phone calls from both sides. It was good. All right. So, following what I've been doing in the past to keep myself on track here. There we go. Okay. TMG Dayton, 25 years of helping friends. Okay. First item. Dan still has that Mac Pro for sale. Okay, so it's a Mac Pro, approximately $350. He's got a bunch of really good video cards going with it, and he's got some extra video cards. If you're interested, see Dan at the break. Dan, raise your hand just so. Okay.
It's a great big tower. Yeah.
Why?
Okay, we're trying to help them sell it. We do that for any member who has older equipment that they either want to sell or that they intend to give away. We try to help find homes for it. The other thing to keep in mind that the club will help you with is if you want to recycle old stuff, old computers and such. Many people don't feel comfortable about just taking their computer over to one of the donation sites because they may still have data on the hard drive. So one of the things that we can do as a user group to help you is decommission the machine for you. In other words, make sure that hard drive is completely wiped, it's got an operating system on it, but none of your data, and then we'll take it over to Goodwill's my favorite place to take them. And you still get your piece of paper from Goodwill for the donation. So just be aware of that.
And you make sure that you deauthorize your iTunes.
Yeah, well that's the other
I
thing.
always forget
Yeah.
that.
A lot of people don't know that their machine is actually linked to their Apple iTunes account. So that's one of the other things that we do. Okay.
So bring them here?
You can bring them here, or you can bring them here to a meeting. Don't just bring them to Good Shepherd Church. Or give me a call, bring them over to my house, or talk to Mark, or talk to Chuck. Chuck, just raise your hand for a minute. Or Bill Howe. Okay, we're all more than willing to help you get those things decommissioned so that you don't have your tax returns and your Quicken and your email and all your logins on those machines when you donate them. That would be bad. Okay, so, made a mistake. It's meeting number 244. I didn't update my agenda. Okay, so the first thing we do is the welcome. The welcome is where we greet any guests that we have or new members. And we've got two guests visiting us today, Dick Rathburn and Dwight and Elizabeth, and I can't read the last name. Seaman. Okay. So, the other name for the welcome is the embarrassment. So what I'm going to ask Dick to do is just stand up for a minute, tell us what kind of computer he's got.
Okay, thank you.
What kind of computer have you got, Dick?
Okay, I have a 21-inch Mac
Okay.
desktop,
Okay.
5 years old now, with
Okay.
Snow Leopard, and my wife has an iPad 4th generation.
Okay.
Okay,
And what kind of stuff do you use it for?
not very much at all.
Okay. What kind of stuff do you want to use it for?
That's why I'm here.
Okay. Notice what I was focusing on. Using the equipment. Okay. this stuff is not supposed to be like Hummel figurines where it just gathers dust. You know, another thing that you have to dust and maintain. It's supposed to add quality to your life. It's supposed to make things easier for you. Okay. So, and you came to the right place. Okay. All right. And then Dwight and Elizabeth? Where are you at? Okay. You're not going to make Elizabeth stand up?
She's already stood up before.
Okay. What kind of computers have you got?
I've got Windows stuff at home.
That's okay. What are you running? Are you running Windows XP, Windows 7, Windows 8? My condolences.
Windows 8.
But he works for the USDA and he's
Yeah,
their technology.
I got transferred to Lexington, Kentucky, and they made me an IT expert, but
Okay.
they had Macs, and I don't know anything about Macs. But I'm learning.
Okay.
It's
So
a good
are
place to
you
be.
located locally, or you're just up here visiting?
Up here visiting.
Okay.
I'm not sure if there is a user group in Lexington.
Okay, so you're related to Kathy next year.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let's talk at the break. Okay, have they got you maintaining servers?
We have one, and it kind of works, but
We'll talk at the break, and I'll give you my contact information. Background for me, for 15 years I was a system network engineer for the Dayton Daily News, where I supported mainframes, mini computers, and PCs. I also maintained their Macs. I had about 600 of them. So yeah, lots of stuff I can tell you, and some shortcuts in terms of how you can get that whole situation under control. Especially where to find good information. Okay. All right, now, so the next thing is, at the break, say hello to them. Elizabeth, Dwight, Dick, if anybody tries to borrow money, just tell them no. Okay, I do that every meeting now. All right, next thing would be draft agenda for this year. So let me just go up here. We've already done graphic converter demonstration in September, and we did best iOS 8 features in October. Today we're going to be working with showing the best new features of Yosemite, which is the operating system for the traditional Mac family. That would be your Mac Pros, your iMacs, your Mac Minis, and the various flavors of laptops that Apple has. Okay. Now, the reason why this is important is now we've got two pieces in place. We've got the operating system for the mobile devices and the operating system for the traditional computers in place, where these things talk to each other. So for the next year and a half, 18 months, this is when we're going to see the new programs that are coming out that let us use these new capabilities, and they're going to change the stuff that we already know and love, like the mail programs, the Safari, etc. So we're out of the waiting period, and now we get to do the fun stuff, which is see new programs, new things that we can use, new capabilities. For next month, tentatively, I'm thinking we have all of this new continuity stuff that they've thrown at us, which would be being able to airdrop a file from your Mac laptop over to your iPad or to your iPhone, or being able to start an email on one computer and then finish it up on one of these other devices. I may kick that back one more month just because some of the continuity and handoff stuff isn't quite working right, and I don't quite understand the benefit that we get from some of this stuff. But tentatively, we'll be doing iCloud stuff, or just cloud stuff next month. The other possibilities coming up would be Parallels Desktop for the Mac. That's where you can run other operating systems on your Mac, such as Windows operating systems, or Linux operating systems, or other things that are out there. So again, keep feeding me ideas about what you'd like to see and what might make your life a little less confusing. Okay, so I'll just put it that way. Okay, so that's our tentative agenda going forward in the year. Next thing would be news. Does anybody have any news items they want to talk about, share with the members? Yeah, go ahead, Dwight.
I've been hearing about wire lurker as a Trojan.
Yeah, Wire Lurker was up and now it's already down. Okay, Wire Lurker was a malware, I'll just use a generic term, malware that would be put onto a Mac or PC, and then if you tethered or connected your Apple mobile device to that machine, it would put stuff on it. The whole way you got to say yes, go ahead and install. So it's also a social engineering sort of hack that, you know, you're going, oh yeah, new thing, yeah, I'll go ahead and press yes. The folks at Apple squelched that one pretty quick. It took them about 3 days. They revoked the Apple security, or Apple cert that these applications have to have so they don't run on Macs or on the mobile devices anymore. And the authorities in China, because this was all mainland China stuff, this is all PRC, they apparently have closed that one computer store that was selling all of these various things, and they've got them shut down. So Wire Lurker was up and it's been knocked down. But that brings up another topic, which is just the general topic of security with our digital things. Did anybody notice that another major store chain got hacked? Yeah,
Those got
okay.
more
Huh?
Wasn't those that they found it was another 50 million?
Oh, it was Home Depot.
A Home Depot
Yeah.
or whatever.
So this is something that we're going to see going forward. Now do you sort of understand when Apple announced this new Apple Pay method of being able to make purchases? You know, you sort of get the idea that Apple may be able to generate another couple $2 billion off of that little thing. Right, so these are things that are important for you to consider. One of the things I would remind you is that even though no computer system is 100% secure, your Macintosh computers, your Macintosh mobile, your Apple mobile devices are much more secure than your Android mobile devices or than your Windows operating system devices. Okay? So it's sort of like, you know, you have locks on your house. Well, you know your house is not totally secure. Somebody could come in with the ram and break down the front door, but it's secure enough that you feel comfortable that when you get home, your stuff is still going to be there, and you won't have cold air coming in and out of that busted front door. Same thing with the Mac. It's a more secure platform. The Apple ecosystem is more secure than the alternatives right now, including Linux. All right, anybody else got anything else to say in news? Like, you know, Microsoft just announced, released free Microsoft Office for the iPad, iPhone. Yeah. I haven't tried it yet.
When you can create and edit in the iPad,
Supposedly. I have not touched it myself yet.
it's released.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
I downloaded it, but I just haven't, like you said, I have to get an
Yeah.
Outlook thing
Yeah.
to get in.
So it's something you might want to check out.
But if you-
On the App Store for your mobile devices, so that'd be your iPad, your iPad mini, your iPhone, that kind of stuff.
You don't have to have a 365 account or anything, right?
Oh, even better.
Now, if you do,
They asked for it.
they ask for
I
it.
think you can still use the apps
I
individually.
thought to create
Right.
and edit, you needed
Right.
an Office 365 subscription.
I think that would
But
work.
just to
That was
look,
the previous
oh,
one.
that was the
No, I think
previous.
this
Yeah.
one, because I don't have that, and I read it through before I downloaded it, because I wanted to use it. And it seemed to indicate it would be okay, I just have to have, Microsoft account, is that it, what is it, tell me
Yeah,
what it is.
Microsoft Live account or Outlook
Yeah,
account.
something.
Okay, the main thing I want to make sure is communicated is that Steve Ballmer is gone from Microsoft. Satya Nadella is running the show, and he's approaching things in a much different way than Steve Ballmer. Steve Ballmer, it was hell will freeze over before we put anything on an Apple device other than Microsoft Office. on the Mac, and even there, he didn't want to have to update it. NetLaw has said, yes, we're actively working on a new Office for the Mac operating system, and we're releasing this Microsoft Office for the iPad. And my understanding, again, check this out for yourself, but my understanding is that the new version does not require a Microsoft 365 subscription.
Yeah, I see.
For full features, what are the reduced features that it lets you do?
And of course, that is not listing, it just says you can unlock the full Word experience with an Office 365 subscription.
I don't know if I want to unlock the full Word.
Office 365 is totally free, and that is
Okay. So anyway, just something, if you have an Apple mobile device, go check it out. See if it's something that you want to, it's going to make things easier for you. Anybody else have anything out there?
Do you
Yes?
want to show them how we can get to the videos now?
Oh, okay. Okay, so one of the things that we've been doing for, are we going on 5 years of videos or 4 years of videos?
It's like 6 or 7.
6 or 7 years of videos. We've been videotaping our meetings, and we've made those available to the members when they request them on physical DVD, or what I call the Holy Host. You know, we hold up the little DVD like it's in a monster. Okay. I wasn't too sacrilegious? Okay. All right. Just got chastised by Sister Louise. Okay. In any case, well, you know, we're sort of in a more modern age now, so we had to sort of drag ourselves up there. So we're now starting to distribute our videos of meetings via YouTube. You want to give them the details on?
Go ahead and just show them. Go to the TMG webpage.
All right. Okay, so I need to walk me through it here. I need to be in a web browser. Okay, once I get to a web browser, I have to get into...
Well, you're there. You just go to tmgdayton.org, go to our
Okay.
webpage,
I'm on our webpage.
go to meetings,
Okay, so...
upper left,
Up at the top, I click on meetings, and I see download meeting movie index.
that's the index. Now
Okay,
down,
and then I see email TMG.
no, go back up, now go to the left, your pointer, you see where it says meeting videos? All right.
I see that.
Meetings.
Video.
Ah, okay. Meeting
link.
videos. Okay, so that takes you to YouTube, where you can download the videos from there or watch them on YouTube if you don't want to download them. All right, so
Now, the
it's,
3 last meetings are posted right now, and I'll post this one as soon as I get it processed.
okay.
It takes about 3 hours to upload one meeting, and
Yeah.
it takes about 3 hours for them to process it, so it takes a while.
Yeah. Okay. Now, if you want one of our older meetings, you know, stuff from maybe 2013, 2012, those just request and we can
Go
put those
back.
on board. Go back to,
Go back. Hit the back button.
hit the back button. Okay, I'm doing my back button here.
Right here, tells you if you want a disc.
He's got a list of what the meeting was and when it was and what the topic was.
Go back one.
Okay.
What he did is, he hit this button right here. That brought up that index, and that shows all the videos that we have available. Now, if you want a video, look at the index, see which one you want, then send us an email, and I'll put it on DVD.
Okay.
Or bring it in and download it off your server.
Right, that's another
That's
thing.
the other way we got it. We have a hard drive that we attach to our wireless access point, where we also have the movies on that. So if you bring in a flash drive, or you bring in a laptop or whatever, you can bring them in that way. So, again, we're trying to be modern in how we handle this stuff. Even though I still have this fond attachment to optical media. Okay, and I'm seeing Rich Gray's giving me a thumbs up. So, you know, DVDs, Blu-ray, CDs, I still have this attachment to them, so I don't think they're quite dead yet.
Now, just to warn you, if everybody's at that page now is downloaded, looking at the videos, you're gonna bring down the wireless like crazy.
Yeah. So this is something that you want to sort of think about for when you get home. So you're on your own Wi-Fi at that point. Just a thought, you might want to make that link so it's a little bigger, you know, less subtle. I know, I'm not the brightest button in the box, so I sometimes miss the subtle stuff. Okay, yes, Mr. Gray.
I just want to say, having missed a meeting here and there and watched some of these videos that Mark has recorded, he does a bang-up job recording the meetings, and I'm surprised he gets as good as he does shooting like the screen off axis and stuff, but he does.
And that's the reason I've got the lights turned down too, because I'm concerned more with getting the screen than I am his face.
Since I started doing videotaping for Miami Valley Communications Council, using their equipment to videotape events, I have a whole lot more appreciation for the stuff that Mark does. Because I know what it's like when the presenter's doing the, all over the place, and they're trying to keep them in frame.
But Mark is doing a fabulous job with this.
Yeah. Okay, does anybody else have any news items they want to share? Going once, going twice. Okay, then let's go to the next one, which would be items for sale or wanted. Anybody else have anything here that they're trying to sell or that they're looking for? Yes, Mike.
iPad 3.
You're selling? Okay. So Mike's on an iPad 3. So at the break, see Mike, raise your hand just so he's up here in the corner. See Mike if you're interested in an iPad 3. Anybody else have any other?
Wi-Fi only,
Wi-Fi only, yes.
16, 32.
32.
That's not bad. All depends on what the price is. Okay.
Well, if I sell it for what they want on my Craigslist, I'm gonna get.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay. And then the other thing, just a reminder again, Dan Wyckoff has a Mac Pro. For
Cheese
sale.
grater version, the big tower.
Yeah, full tower, what I call heavy metal.
I call it cheese grater.
Yeah, where you can put 4 drives in it, and they're hot swap. Yeah, the big aluminum cheese graters, I call it, because from the front they look like a cheese grater. Okay. Good equipment, and he's got some, he was using it for video production, so he's got some high-end.
And it's the Intel version, right? It's not the G5.
Right, so we're talking Intel. The highest it can go is Snow Leopard, am I correct?
I think so.
Okay, so it's that first Rev 1.5 of the Intel, yeah. Okay, so anyway, see, Dan, if you're interested in that. I'm trying to get somebody else to buy it so I don't buy it. Because that's what happened with the last thing you did.
So how much are you gonna donate to the person who buys it from?
Okay.
You're gonna be relegated to that in real
All right. Anybody else have anything that they're trying to sell or that they're looking for? Anybody looking for old equipment?
There's a couple of books over there for software for older equipment that no longer need space on my bookshelf.
Okay, where'd you put them?
They're free.
Behind the donuts.
Oh.
They're free.
I don't know, every time I turn it on.
Okay. See the books, folks? They're on the freebie table, not on the donut table. So, that's something else I encourage people to do. Just because you're not running a machine anymore that's running, operating system, Tiger, Lion, Mountain Lion, whatever, somebody else may still have it, and that may be something, that they can get value from when you bring your older books in, okay? So again, the whole idea is if you're not using it, you're not getting value from it, bring it on in. We'll see if somebody else can get value from it. Okay. All right, so I'm going to say let's move on to the next item, which would be help desk. Help desk. Anybody running into problems this month? Yes?
Just hate the contrast on Yosemite. Hate it. The contrast on the
Okay.
on the computer. And there's supposedly some way you can improve the contrast. I saw it somewhere at one point in time. I think it came in an OSX email.
Okay.
Supposedly you can fix it, but
Okay.
why they did that, I don't know, but the outlines around the buttons and sometimes the font is very faint, very weak. I suppose if you have retina display, it might be better, but if you're a non-retina display person,
Are you on an iMac where you've got,
iMac and MacBook Pro, both,
Okay.
neither of which have retina.
okay, where it's not a separate display that you can adjust how you want, it's the display they've got, okay.
It's Yosemite's fault.
Bill, we just fixed that on ours.
Hmm?
We just fixed that. Maybe you'll tell them, but under general, you can go change the dock so it's darker. I mean, it increases the contrast of the dock. We went under general, what did you do? Because I was having trouble seeing too, like you. And
Okay.
So you probably know what we're
Preferences,
talking
general.
about. Yeah.
System preferences, okay? System preferences. And you're saying under general,
The little checkbox right there under appearance.
use dark menu bar and dock?
Yeah, it really helps. At least it helped me with my eye thing.
So here, I just zoomed in on that screen. So I'm in system preferences, I went to general, this little checkbox right there. Now that I found the battery for this thing. So using this right there, where it says use dark menu bar and dock. I just checked that and it changes some of the,
What it did was made the dock contrast
Yeah.
much better, but it put a black bar with white text at the top, which was fine with me.
okay.
That doesn't
The
help.
the other place you can go is accessibility.
Okay, so the other one I'm being told is accessibility. Now to get out of this screen in system preferences in Yosemite, I click on this button right here that looks like it's Hollywood Squares. Remember the TV show Hollywood Squares? Now we want to go to accessibility, which should be down. Yeah, it's the one where it's got sort of the Leonardo da Vinci man.
You have a button there for reduce transparency and increase contrast. Okay. And I've checked both of those.
Increase contrast, reduce transparency, and then I'm assuming you can also play games with the
My
contrast
reduced
controls.
transparency is subdued, you can't click on it.
What are you saying,
Oh,
Al?
oh, I see.
Okay, okay, I think the light bulb is on.
Now, for me, on my iMac, it helped a lot.
Okay,
So that's that.
okay, so those two locations, the first one is where instead of the dock being transparent, I need to put that back because I like transparent. And the other one was to go into accessibility and to change your increased contrast, to click that box.
That
I'm gonna
automatically
unclick it
selects
here.
the reduce transparency.
Okay. And now I'm going to zoom out, so I'm in a normal screen. Okay, anybody else having problems? Yes, John?
iPad.
Yes.
My wife got a email with an attachment to it. She tried to forward it to myself and my daughter. It's a PDF attachment. It didn't forward. Is there something silly that's going on here? I could not figure out why it would not be forwarded. It was on an iPad, so it's an iPad 2.
Yeah.
Don't know what.
What's more important is not which iPad model it is, but who is she using for her email? Is it a Google Gmail account?
It's a Gmail account.
Gmail account, okay. What app is she using on the iPad to access that? Is she using the Apple Mail program, or is she using the Google Gmail program, or is she using some third-party program?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Not sure.
Okay. Collect that information and then send me an email. Okay. Use the club address, president@tmgdayton.org, not com, O-R-G. Okay. That's where we get into the stuff I like. I love puzzles. This is where we get into the interesting stuff. It's not necessarily the platform when we're talking about email. It's what program is trying to access that email server, and what email server is up there that we're talking to. Because the folks at Google do email different than the folks at Yahoo do, than the folks at Apple do, than the folks at AOL do. They're not tremendous differences, but sometimes it's just enough to cause a problem. For example, some email providers automatically encapsulate, archive, if you've got more than one file there, and then when you go to look at the email, they unpack them. Well, when you're on an iPad, if it's talking to not the mobile email server, but the regular email server, it doesn't know that it's supposed to unpack them for an iPad. Okay. So it can get complicated. Now, I'm going to go over back to me. Yes, Decker.
I think it's along the same line, but I get a message from an organization every week or so, and they used to come, I'll say 6 months, nine months ago, with the logo at the top and all the text.
Mm-hmm.
And something changed. The individual who sends it uses Prodigy. And anyhow, now I get the text and it's all left justified, and the image for the logo comes as an attachment at the bottom. And I ask the individual who sends it out what they did change, and they didn't change anything. But
they said they haven't changed anything.
That's what they say.
Okay, well, it says to me that instead of sending out in an HTML format, okay, think like you just got the electronic email from Kohl's department store, okay? And you see something like you would see it on their webpage. That's HTML code, and it's being sent as an email. That's very different from when it's text and it's graphics and they're not put together. Okay. So I'm thinking maybe, just maybe, they're not sending them out as HTML, where it creates what's called a PDF, but it's not a portable document format. It's the same acronym, but it's for something entirely different. A page description format. When something is sent in HTML, the first thing it sends you is this page description format that says, okay, you're going to get this text and you're going to get these graphics, but this little diagram is going to tell the computer where to put everything on that screen that you're going to get. Okay? If you don't have that PDF coming in, your computer goes, oh, I got a graphic, okay, it's an attachment, I'll put it down here. I got text, I'll just put it over here. Yes, Rich?
Are you noticing any change with other emails that are in similar form?
Not from anyone else. No.
Because in SeaMonkey, which is like Thunderbird, you can change to view emails, as strictly text, as simplified HTML, and then the full glory. So it kind of depends on you. I don't know if there's a similar control.
I tried looking at it with a couple of different systems, and
They're all coming up the same way.
Okay.
Okay. And you haven't changed any of your email server settings?
Do you have an old one still on that?
I don't throw. It's another question. How many people throw away emails? We're losing our history because we don't send letters to anyone. We don't write stuff down on paper. And people get messages and they trash them.
Yes.
I'm an archiver.
It's ephemeral. It's ephemeral. Before we go off of emails, I want to just make sure everybody understands some very important basic concepts. Where are your emails? They're not on your local device. They're on that email server. Okay? And we may be looking at that email server and what it has from various devices and various programs. Okay? So the first place when I'm troubleshooting email is I go look at the email server and what settings for your account are in operation. Okay? The way I do that is rather than going through some sort of mail program, what's referred to as a client application, I use a plain vanilla web browser, and I use the web browser to talk to the email server, and I go to see what the settings are. That's what's called webmail, and that's how most people are doing their email right now. They're using a web browser to talk to what they think directly to an email server. Actually, your web browser is talking to the web server of that organization, which then talks to its email server. So it's one device in between. The other way that people do email is what's called a client application. It might be like SeaMonkey, which is a web browser and an email client, or it might be the Apple Mail program, or it could be a program called AirMail, which is available for the Mac and for the Apple mobile devices, or a program like Outlook for the Mac or Outlook for the PC. There, it can talk to the email server directly, and it can talk to more than one email server at a time. So if you're someone who has multiple email accounts on different email services, okay, using an email client is more efficient because then you're looking at one inbox, but it can be for your AOL account, your Yahoo account, your Gmail account, your MyWay account, your Juno account, all in one place. Okay? So just something to sort of think about when you're using your email. Okay, now, let me go to Rich again, and then I'll go to Elton.
Just also an email client will tend to create local copies of email on your machine, which can then be saved if you wish to.
And that gets into how you have things set up, whether it's using what's called IMAP, which is how you want your email server settings if you've got multiple devices that you're going to be looking at your email with, versus the way we used to do email, which was POP.
Or some still do.
Yeah. Okay. POP is what we would do in the days where we had the dial-up modems, okay? And you got teenage kids, and they're going like, Dad, come on, get off the phone. I need to... There, the email server would download your emails to your device and then erase them up on the server so that they're only on your local device. If you're using more than one device to do email, that's a bad thing because you can't see things that you sent to somebody and you can't see all of the messages. Okay? That's why we've migrated mostly to what's called an IMAP method of doing email. Okay. So anyway, let's see, I was going to say, let's go back to all the way in the back.
I tried to sync my iPhone 6 to my iMac, and since then I've had some strange things happening to my contact list.
Okay. When you were syncing it, were you tethered with a cable?
Yes.
Okay. All right. When you're tethered with a cable, you get an option for synchronization where instead of it doing the synchronization via iCloud, that storage box up here, it's doing it directly, and it's doing iCloud, and you end up with duplicates and triplicates.
Yes.
So what you want to do, the next time you have your iPhone connected to your other device, via cable, is to uncheck that syncing via directly to the Mac. You want it just to be doing iCloud. Just do an iCloud.
Why is that?
Okay. If you have it doing it both ways, you're going to end up with the duplicates and triplicates. All right? If you've only got the two devices and you're more comfortable syncing with a cable, then turn off syncing by iCloud. Okay?
On the phone.
On the phone and on the Mac. On the Mac, you're going to be in the iTunes program to turn that off. But the thing to think about here is, okay, isn't it nice that when you take a picture with your iPhone, it automatically puts it on your iPhoto program on your Mac?
No.
You don't like that, okay. Okay. For most of us, when we're taking a picture with the mobile device, we want a copy on the other device. Okay, so you're the 1% that does it the other way, which is okay. It's okay. They're both good ways to do it. Yeah. So you need to turn off the iCloud syncing and just leave it where it's just syncing directly from your iPhone to the computer and from the computer to the iPhone. Yeah. Okay. The thing is, don't have both turned on. Pick which method you want to have it syncing. Okay? Yes, Bill Ward.
At the office, when they were trying to work on the mail program, they ended up screwing up my contact list on my phone. My question is it easy to pull out from a saved version, an earlier saved version, just the contacts? And then can you take those contacts and merge them without duplicating everything?
Okay. Where does where do your contacts actually reside? The copy that you want to access.
On the laptop and on the phone. Well, the saved copy on the laptop.
Saved copy on the laptop. Okay. On the laptop, you're using iCloud to sync?
This is not synced with iCloud.
How are you doing sync with the cable?
Syncing with cable.
Okay. Okay, and iCloud synchronization is turned off for contacts.
Yeah, for that.
Okay. What you do is, on your iPhone, you turn off contact synchronization, and then you turn it back on and you synchronize, and it says, do you want to overwrite the contacts on the phone with the ones that are on the registered device, which is the...
Yeah, but it's not quite that simple, because I've got, since they screwed it up, I've added a lot of contacts to my phone, which aren't in the master list, which were saved a month ago. So I need to get both. That's why I don't want one to override the other. I'm wanting to see if there's a way to merge without duplicating.
Okay. So there's a bunch of different things you'd have to do, all of which can be bad results. So the first thing you do is you launch Contacts or Address Book on your Mac. You have all of those things selected, and you save out a copy. Okay, so you've got that as your standalone. Then what I would do at that point is I would have it merge the contacts between the phone and the Mac. Remember, you've got your reference copy over here saved out, separate from any backup of the phone in that. All right? Use the contacts tools that are there to remove duplicates and such. Basically, you're going to have to plow through those contacts and pare them out. There's no real easy way to avoid that. A human being has to look at the contact information. Yeah, I know. It's a bitch. Okay. The other way to go would be you clean out all your contacts on your Mac after you've done the saving them off to the side. You then let the phone sync with it. You clean out everything that you think is, you clean out everything except for the new contacts that are on the phone that you know you need to keep. And then you drag that back up onto your contacts program, and you let it add it to the ones that you've got, just the new iPhone stuff. And it'll merge the two. And then you've got a new reference group.
Should he back up what's on the computer and then clear it out and then sync the phone in there?
Yeah.
And then back that up? Now he's got
Yeah.
the phone and now he's got
Yeah.
everything backed
Yeah.
up. So you can always try again.
Yeah. This is why what I do is, okay, I've got multiple email accounts. With those email accounts, I also have multiple address books, but I don't let those address books get synced. So what I do is I save out my contacts. I do this twice a year. When I change the batteries on the smoke detectors and the CO detectors, No, real world. Twice a year, I clean up my contact list. Okay, and I do it way before Christmas when I'm doing Christmas cards. Okay. And then what I do is I save it out and then I upload it to my Gmail account for the address book up there, but I never use that one. And that's where I keep it so it's stored. And I got it as a replacement if I ever need to. Okay, I can tell from the frown that I'm not giving you an answer you wanted to hear.
Well, no, I'm still trying to figure out if there's a way from a saved version, I can export out only contact, put it into a spreadsheet, export out the existing phone contacts, put that into a spreadsheet, throw the two of them together, eliminate any duplicate information.
Yeah, because when you export, you can either export to an LDIF file or you can export to a CSV,
Right.
which is a comma delimited file. That thing you can suck right into an Excel spreadsheet, do your sorting, do your merging.
And then export it from that back to, or import it rather.
You can save from, you can save it out to a CSV and then import that into your address book contacts program. Because your address, I'm calling it address book and contacts because they renamed it as we went from the older versions of the operating system to the more modern ones. So it's the same program, but it allows you to import and export, and it'll allow you to import from a CSV. When you do an import from a CSV, it's going to make you match up the header with where it's supposed to put it into the database. So you got to link up your first name column with the first name and the other. It's not, you just do that for the first one. You walk through a couple of your contacts to make sure that they're lined up the way you want it, and then you hit the bring it in. Okay?
They wouldn't have been as clever as to put a date of update in the contact entry, would they?
Yeah. Okay. The other thing that I usually do when I'm doing this kind of stuff for a customer is I've set up a separate user profile that's like brand new. And then I'm bringing it in there. So I've got my user profile, my stuff, that's sort of left alone, and this is doing it over here. Okay? And I'm not doing it via iCloud, I'm doing it via wired tether. Okay? Okay, I know, a lot of stuff. It's hard work any way you cut it. Okay. All right, Elton, you have one more thing?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I had a second question. When you were talking email problems, it reminded me of a problem.
Okay.
With my iPad. In my iMac and in my MacBook Pro, I use a client program, like you say, for email.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Contacts. It's called Entourage when you do Microsoft Office for Mac.
No, Elton,
The
no.
older
Elton,
2008.
you need to get off of Entourage. No, I'm serious. You need to get off of Entourage. You either bite the bullet
It's the
and
same
buy
as
Outlook. Entourage was incredibly flawed when it was released. It has not gotten any better with age.
Okay.
Okay?
Now let's step aside from the fact that I have Entourage on my MacBook Pro and my iMac. I do have Earthlink as my mail, my email company and server. What I'm concerned about is on my iPad. In my MacBook Pro and iMac, I have a little column on the left where I have saved some precious emails that I don't want to throw away, like the gentleman, whoever it was, talking back there, people just delete them. Well, there's some key ones that I like to keep, and I've got saved this, saved medical, saved this, and when I need to keep those, I just drag them over and drop them in these save folders. On my iPad, I don't have any of those save folders, but I obviously wouldn't stuff as much into an iPad with 32 gigabytes, so I'd like to have some extra boxes.
Where do those folders actually reside? If they're not showing up on the iPad, that means they're not on the email server. They're on your local computers. In other words, they're being stored on the hard drive of those devices.
I understand, correct.
Okay.
And I want to store a few on my iPad mini as well. A few, not as much as I stuff on my iMac, because I got a lot more storage there, but I want to stuff a few of them into my iPad, and I don't have those extra saved folders. I don't know how to generate them on my iPad.
It's an own issue with Entourage and Yosemite. If one of your devices is on Yosemite, there are no sync issues with other devices. Entourage has no issues with syncing mail across devices.
No, I'm not worried about syncing. I don't care about syncing. I save what I want to save on my iPad, that's fine. But if I'm reading, mail is the client application, correct, in iPad. I'm in mail.
Yeah.
And one comes in, I want to keep it on my iPad. This has nothing to do with syncing with Entourage. It came in from the server down at Herrick, came into my iPad. Now, I want to save it on my iPad, so I want to put a couple of extra little saves folders on there. That's what I'm asking, how they're doing.
This one, we need to have a conversation outside of the meeting. We're into a,
I need that information.
yeah,
also.
because the thing that's going on is, one, this is not meant to be a slam at Elton, but there's some education I need to do with Elton so that he understands what he's currently doing. And I need to see that. But I would remind you, an iPad does not have a finder. It doesn't let you just create folders and store stuff. On an iPad, when you want to do something, the first question you should ask yourself is, what application owns the data that I want to work with? And the Apple Mail program on the iPad is not going to let you do the kind of stuff you're talking about. It's not going to let you create a directory on the device. It'll let you create a directory on the server, the email server up there, that's shared with your other devices, but it's not going to let you do that. So we need to have a conversation about that. And it'll be interesting because I'll get to learn something, because some of my customers, of course, have confidentiality requirements on them because of HIPAA and, you know, lawyers, doctors, that kind of stuff. And for some of them, they don't want to have the stuff up there on a server up in the cloud. They want to have it where it's only on the local device. Okay, so we're going to just bail on that one for right now. Let me go to Candy.
Very quickly.
Sure.
Also email. I thought of you. All of a sudden, I'm on Apple Mail, and everything started kind of like not coming in. I traced it down to IMAP settings with the Google. And Google had certain specifications that they wanted me to uncheck. And once I unchecked things, then I didn't have any problem. And I can't remember, but I wanted to say that.
Yeah, it's going to be things like the port that you're using for incoming and outgoing mail, whether you're using SSL or not. There's a whole.
There was a whole bunch of them, and then I have a question, and it might be more Yosemite lecture, is are there have problems with Mac Mail and Yosemite?
Actually, mail in Yosemite works better than Mavericks do.
Okay, because I haven't downloaded it.
Okay. Okay. So what I'm taking from this is maybe we should be doing just a thing on email 1 month.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe a workshop type deal where we break up into separate groups with one person that sort of knows what they're doing with the other folks that sort of don't know what they're doing. Okay. Well, I'll think about it. Okay. What are we doing for time? Okay. We're going to wrap it up because we've got to make time for the raffle.
Very quick, I do a newsletter. I've been using Microsoft Word on my Mac, mini Mac I have. Anyway, I just wondered, is there a better program than Microsoft Word's publishing layout, which is what I've been using, to do a newsletter? As I switch to Yosemite, it's given me some problems. And I'm using, of course, the Word Mac 11 that I have bought.
Okay. So she's using Microsoft Office for the Mac 2011.
Correct.
Okay, and she's doing publisher features in Microsoft Word in there.
Correct.
Try Pages. Try Pages.
Well, I used to do it in Pages, but that hasn't been updated since 2009.
Oh, that's not true. Pages
Oh, has it
on
been?
your iPad and on your Mac, as you put the newer operating system, you get newer versions.
I do. Oh,
We are
okay.
now on iWork 2013, 2014, I think is what they labeled it now.
Because I kept the updates going, I just
Yeah.
didn't realize, I thought it was
Yeah.
pretty old, so I wasn't sure it
The
was.
thing to remember about Pages, Numbers, and Keynote, those are the three programs in the iWork series, is that they're really meant for someone who's doing more of a newsletter design, if you will, and that you can create a spreadsheet and have it plunk it in the middle of a Pages layout, and as you update it, it automatically updates. So it's very much like Quark Express publishing system, where multiple people can be doing things. Think of it, you're doing different things in different programs, but they can talk to each other, and you can do the complex layout and what I call the rock in the river, where your text flows over the
Yeah,
picture
I
you
used
have
to
in the
use
middle.
Pages before.
Yeah.
And I flipped to Word a
Yeah.
couple years ago, a year ago.
Yeah.
Well, for a couple of reasons, because some of your reviewers.
Yeah, but that's all right, yeah, that's not
Yeah.
here.
The thing to remember with all of the iWork programs is that sometimes what I'll do is I'll do my work in Pages or Numbers or Keynote, but then when I save it out as a Word document, I save it out as an Excel spreadsheet, I save it out as a PowerPoint document.
And it doesn't misapply your graphic?
No, in fact, in some ways it makes it better than if I was doing it in
Okay, that's good
PowerPoint.
to know, thank you.
Save it as PDF.
Save it
Oh,
PDF,
I know, I
that's
can
right.
save it as a PDF, I've done that.
Have you done your updates on
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Office?
I do all the updates.
All right, one last one. One last bite of the apple.
At home,
Yep.
network, nice new airport tower,
Okay.
per Mac Mini,
Yeah.
which is only a year old, my laptop, and a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, there are 5 copies or 12 copies of Mac Mini in the shared, and it starts complaining about somebody else is using my IP.
Yeah,
Okay.
that happens all the time.
Okay. This is what's called DHCP leases.
I
Okay.
turned them off and they didn't go away.
Okay. Did you change it to where? Okay. Again, this is one of those things. Yeah, I know your house is cluttered like my house is cluttered, but I'm thinking home visit would be the way to handle that one. Because what we basically do is we tell the various devices to purge directory services, to renew their links. No, it's
We'll talk.
yeah, okay. All right, with that said, it's time for the raffle. Okay, so in here we're going to be doing a little show and tell dog and pony show about the new operating system for the Macintosh computers. It's called Yosemite. Over in the novice group, we no longer call it novice group. It's now novice group. In the novice group, they're going to be doing the normal, you've got a question, you want an answer, but they're also going to be showing a program called Super Duper, which is for cloning hard drives. And a lot of people, some people need to know about that, especially if you're deploying a lot of stuff. Yes?
When you speak, when you're excited about something, your voice volume is great.
Yeah.
But when you get into something other mundane, then you lower your voice.
Yeah.
You're expected.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is try to stay excited the whole time. And I'm also going to be thinking in the back of my head that we need to not only buy another projector screen for the novice group, but maybe I ought to also spend some money for an FM mic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Keep it up, Bill.
You're going to take another
That'll
shot?
transmit over to the camera.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Bill,
Yeah. Okay.
see
What? So with that said,
Catch me out.
let's talk about Yosemite. This is a two-part presentation. The first part, I've got the keynote presentation that comes from Apple. It's sort of like what Apple wants you to know about Yosemite. It's more of a marketing piece. I'm going to try and blow through that as quick as I can, giving it, due diligence. But then I'm going to just bail into the operating system itself and tell you what I thought were the important things you need to know about the new Yosemite. The things where I sort of went, oh, wait a minute, what the heck do I do? Oh, wow, you know, that kind of stuff. Real world, nitty gritty, okay, that the folks at Apple maybe don't think is a big deal, but to me it was like, wow, you should have told me that it does this now. All right, so with that said, Yosemite, OSX 10.10. Okay, so they stopped naming their operating system after kitty cats. No more lion, mountain lion.
I ran out of cats.
And they started naming them after cities in California. So the last operating system was Mavericks. It's named after a surfer town in California. This one's named after Yosemite, the national park. Okay, so that's why you've got these beautiful shots of Yosemite that they'll have as their backdrops. Okay, so their whole idea was to enhance, design, improve the quality of your life, all that normal stuff that they say, with power and sophistication. I'm going to bail on that marketing language and just say they made it easier on your eyes to look at this operating system. So you'll see that they've done a redesign of this operating system from the get-go. It's got newer icons. They redid the dock design. They changed the fonts that are in the Finder, which is your operating system. They just refreshed the whole thing. The other thing to keep in mind is we're not just using one type of device now. We've got our computers, but we also have our iPhones and our iPads, our other mobile devices. Those devices have iOS 8.1. The flat design of those icons is now being shown in Yosemite. Again, new system font. It really is easier on the eyes, especially since they're also upgrading the iMacs to these Retina displays, which are better than 4K displays. Another thing that they did, in Mavericks we had this thing called the notification center that was in the, oh, excuse me, sorry.
Turn off the movie.
Yeah, I hit the wrong button. So let me get it started up again. I meant to hit my laser pointer and I hit my other button.
Is that why you took the batteries out?
That's why I'm thinking, yeah, that's why I did that before. Let me do this real quick. Come on, start up again. Mark, would you do me a favor and just get the projector going in while I talk? Okay, so there's this thing called a notification center. It's in the upper right-hand corner of your Macintosh window, your Finder window, up on the menu bar. They added a new thing up there, and it's called the Today View. And it will have things up there like, what's the weather in your location? What stocks that you want to track. You can have different time clocks up there. So there's a whole variety of different things. I confused it. Okay, so he's going to do a Polish restart on it. So they've added that, and there will be additional widgets, that's what they're calling the things that go in there, for that Today View in the notification center. The other thing that they did was they took some of the programs that were getting a little bit too complex for us to figure out what they were doing, how to use them, and they redesigned them. So two of the things that I want to make sure that we talk about today are going to be the Mail program and the Safari program. We getting anyone? Oh, what you pushed? Did I kill it? I don't know.
Why are they on the notifications?
Sure.
mine come up on Yosemite and they flip up, but they go off before I can read them with my slow reading speed. Is there a way to either keep them from flipping up or to make them slow down so they don't go up?
You're talking about notifications that are showing up in windows on your screen?
Yeah, well, on my main, on the main screen, it just, cause they just keep flipping in on the top right corner. On
As
my-
long as you don't click on it, they'll stay up there for you to read.
No, they
There's a
don't.
difference between alerts and banners and those kinds of things like you have on your iPhone too. Some of them stay and you take action. Some of them just are on and then
Mine
disappear.
don't.
In your notification center settings, in system preferences.
Okay.
Okay.
Nope,
Thank
check
you very much.
notifications. Okay, I got it.
Make it better.
So this would be on your Mac Mini, you'd be changing those settings in notifications and telling it what kind of notification you want it to do. So again, up here in the, I'm not going to use that, up here we've got a tab that's called Today, and in here it'll show you things like, what have you got scheduled today? So in some ways, it's very much like the feature that Microsoft Office has. It's called My Day, sort of your day in a capsule. Another thing that they redid was Spotlight Search. Okay. Spotlight Search, you used to go up and click on the little thing that looked sort of like a letter Q. It's actually supposed to represent a magnifying glass, which is the symbol they use for search. When you're doing a Google search, you're clicking on that magnifying glass. Okay. Well, it used to be in Spotlight, we got this little bitty thing in the upper right-hand corner where you would type your stuff in, and then it would show you what it came up with, and then they would disappear. And those of us who are not necessarily the brightest button in the box, the search results would disappear too quickly. So we learned to bring up a separate Finder window with that search. Well, what they've done in Spotlight now is when you click on that little magnifying glass, instead of getting a little search field up there, you get a huge, honking, large search box in the middle of the screen. Okay? Now, to me, that's a good thing, because I find that as I get older, my ability to focus in on things gets diminished. All right. So here we're showing it, you're getting ready to put in something of a search. So as you start to type in the word C and A, it's already coming up and trying to autofill. It says, oh, are you looking for the calendar? Or on this one, they put in the letters DES, and it's come up with a Pages document that's called Design Report. It's coming up with PDFs that have the word DES somewhere in it. It's coming up with web pages. It's coming up with messages. So again, Spotlight is not just searching for the name of the thing, but it might be content that's in the thing, and it's no longer just searching on your Mac, it's also searching on internet sources.
You can change that in settings. If you
Correct.
don't like that.
Correct. So for example, on the club laptop, which we use mainly for presentations, I have Spotlight set to ignore music, ignore books, just show me presentations and PDFs, because those are the documents I'm normally looking for on this particular machine. All right, so here we're seeing they put in YOSE, and it's coming up with a web page. It's coming up with a reference in the dictionary. It's coming up with mail and messages, and it's also coming up with events and reminders. So it's looking at all of your different devices, different applications. Now here we're switching over to Safari. Wow, that doesn't look like the Safari I was used to. Notice, first of all, up here we've got our three little balls up there, red, yellow, and green. Okay, they've changed how that works and what they do. I'll be doing more on that when I get the demo part of the program, of the presentation. Next to that, we've got our back arrow and forward arrow. Then we've got a little box there. When you click on that, it's going to create a sidebar that shows you all of the favorites that you've saved. Notice I did not say bookmark. I said favorites. So for those of you who have used PCs, Internet Explorer, you've got websites that you've saved, they're internet favorites. Apple is finally using that word instead of bookmark. Over on the other side, up here, we have a small square with an upward arrow. When you click on that, it brings up different ways that you could share that website. In the middle, these are all more favorites that you would have. So as you start to type stuff in, it's going to show you your favorites as a drop-down in the middle. Let me get up here just a little bit farther. And here's the one where I was talking about sharing a web page. So you could add that web page to a reading list. You could add it as a bookmark. You could email that website. You're emailing what you're looking at, not the entire website that you're connected to. Send it as a message, airdrop it, post it on Twitter, post it on LinkedIn, post it on Facebook, post it on Tumblr, and there's a lot more depending on what social networks you use. Yes?
You still save a favorite website as a bookmark, though? You're using the term bookmark up there.
Yeah.
So it's,
They're in the middle of switching from the use bookmark to favorite.
but they mean the same?
They mean the same.
What is it, Bill, it says add your reading list, is that just more or less bookmark that, or is that actually downloading?
The difference between the reading list and your saved bookmarks. All right? It's real simple. I'm on a website and I go, oh crap, I got a meeting right away. I don't have time to really look at this, but I want to look at it later on. You put it in reading list.
But it's nothing more than...
Right, right. It's a way of distinguishing between the bookmarks that you use, that you want to keep forever and ever, as opposed to the stuff that's ephemeral, really ephemeral. It's like, okay, I just need to look at this later on when I get back from the meeting, but it's not something I'm really going to keep. And moving right along, this is what you get when you're clicking on that other little box next to the share. And it's showing you all the tabs that are open. So it's a way where you can have multiple things open, and it's easier to figure out what they are and to get to them.
What was that? No, I'm so sorry.
Hmm?
What was that? Top right?
All the way in the far right corner. And it looks like two playing cards, one on top of the other, slightly offset. Okay? Okay, moving on to the mail program. They've done various things in the mail design. And they've cleaned up the interface. It just made it be a little bit easier on the eyes, easier to figure out where things are. They've just cleaned it up, I'll just say that. So redesign. I'll be doing more in mail once I bail out of this. And then this is what's called a markup. So there's various things you can do with the mail program that you couldn't do before. One of which is to put a signature on a document or on an email. Another one is to physically, digitally mark up a picture that you're putting on as an attachment. Let's say I'm sending someone a picture of a parking lot and I want to indicate to the contractor where the main potholes are of that parking lot that I want them to fix. I can draw circles in my mail program on that picture, and it only goes on the picture that's actually attached and sent out. It's what's called markup. Digital signatures. So their signature's been applied. And here we have a picture of a kid. This is the kind of stuff you could do. You could put text on it, arrows, circles, on the picture that you're going to send. Another thing that they added to mail drop. Sometimes the things we're trying to send to another person are too large for our email servers to handle. Mail drop is a way where you can go to attach it to your email. Your email program, mail program, sees that it's way too big to go through that email server, and Apple puts it on their own thing, and they send a link as part of the email to the other person, and they can then download it from that location.
Any idea what size that limit is?
5 gig. If it's over 5 gig, no. If it's under 5 gig, yes.
What is that?
So that's 5 gig per message. This is a way that you can take that picture and you can use the markup tool on the picture. It does not do anything to the original, which can be in your iPhoto library, or that could be on your desktop. Yes, Ron?
Do you have to start with a picture, or can you, in a message, just start drawing on it?
Its markup tool is for a pre-existing
Or an
picture.
existing picture?
Correct.
We'll go on nothing.
Now, I want to remind you of something here. All right? In your mail program, okay, I'm in where I'm writing an email. Okay, so you got the send and the cancel button that are over in the left-hand corner. You've got your paper clip, which is where you're attaching stuff. And then you have your letter A. When I click that letter A, that's where I get a font bar where I can change what font I'm using, size of font, all that good stuff. And then next to that is what's called Photo Browser, where from inside my email program, here I'm going to just click this green so it's full thing, I can see all of the photos that are in my iPhoto library and pick what I want. And then I can attach it to the email without having iPhoto open.
Does it have to be iPhoto, Bill?
Yeah, the photo browser is only going to look at the iPhoto library. If you want to attach something else, you have it outside of iPhoto, outside of something in Finder, and you can just drag and drop onto your email screen.
It says I have to open iPhoto to see it.
Not in Yosemite.
No,
Do you have the latest iPhoto?
That's that.
You got 1010 and everything's updated? Yes?
Could you just take a picture of something white and draw on it?
Sure.
Can you put your signature on that?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
But you have to have a photo to put your
He has to have a photo to put it.
Signature works either on a photo or on a form. So people are now sending forms via email. Like you're going to do a house closing and you got to sign something. You can now apply a signature to that form. But again, it's a special kind of email document that's been sent to you. All right, so let me do a cancel here real quick.
There you go.
Yeah.
You said that you could use the markup on a picture that was in your email. Can you, and then you talk about pulling another attachment and putting it in. Can you use the markup on the attachment to your email just as you can use it to a picture that is part and parcel of the email itself?
The markup only applies to that picture that's been attached to the email.
You mean embedded in?
Embedded.
Yeah, embedded in the email.
Not attached.
not a separate attachment.
It's attached, embedded, it's the same thing on a Mac. When I say, here's an email, and I want these photographs to be associated with it, I'm using that paper clip. That means they're attached documents to an email.
Okay.
Markup lets me modify those documents that are already in the email, ready for me to send. It doesn't screw up the original.
If you pull in a Word document, can you use markup on it?
No. But if you save that Word document out as a picture, as a JPEG, you can bring it in and then,
Well, I guess my familiarity is that you can embed something in an email, and I think that's what you were using markup to modify the picture that's in.
markup is
Embedded.
modifying the photo that's attached. Embedding really has a different meaning. If you go back to when we were talking about emails with HTML content,
Right.
that's really when you've got stuff embedded as opposed to attached.
So your picture of the sound machine is not.
They're attached, they're not
Not embedded. it's
correct. Correct.
Okay, thank you.
So you marked up a picture that you had, how did you put it on your email? Now,
Here,
just included
okay.
it. And
Let's
can you
do
a
one real
photo?
quick.
Can you do a photo too?
Okay, let's do a screenshot and then I'll attach it to an email. So I'm going to do Command
Just drag
Shift
it
4,
in.
and I'm just going to drag it over my desktop. So I'm taking a picture of those 3 folders, and right, and it just took a screenshot of it, and it probably put it in my documents here. Let's see.
I was just wondering if you can mark up a photo as well as a picture or a graphic. It doesn't matter. There-
Okay, ask the question again.
If you have say a TIFF or a JPEG photo.
Yeah,
of
you can
attach
do
it to-
markups on those.
You can do markups
Yeah.
on those in the email if you drag and drop
Correct.
them into your email.
Correct,
Rather than attach them with a paper.
right.
I guess I don't use the paper clip for attaching photos, so I forget that.
Typically, okay, it's usually a better idea to take a graphic and have it converted from a TIFF or a RIF or a SNF into a JPEG, because JPEGs take up less space and they maintain the quality of the photo. So they're easier to send through an email system. TIFFs can get grunge going through an email system, I'll just say that. Okay, we all heard that little Burmese gong sound, which means it's 12 o'clock. Okay. The presentation is over. I appreciate your patience as I managed to turn off the projector and Mark turned it back on. The main thing I want you to take away is my view about Yosemite. Yosemite is a better operating system than Maverick. The email system works better, the browser works better. I don't see any reason why anyone would stay with Mavericks, especially since Yosemite is free.
Thank you.